So I bought my first cinema camera and I want to share it with you. Let's go. Hey, welcome to Ladicam Studio. My name is Damus aka Pro X, and this is your place to be for videography. So don't forget to subscribe, put on the notification bell so you stay up to date with my latest videos. So over the years I owned a couple of cameras, some Canons, some Sonys, and now for the first time I bought a cinema camera. Drum rolls. Bam. This is the Zcam E2 M4. And before we start off, I'm not sponsored by Zcam, so everything you see here is mine, and I'm gonna give you my honest opinion about how it works, the workflow, all the pros, all the cons. I've seen the image quality already and I'm loving it already, so I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this, but let's start from the beginning. So the reason why I bought the Zcam goes back a couple of years ago. I went to an AV festival in Amsterdam, got introduced to the, I think it was the E2C at the time, but it had 4K 120, Full HD 240 frames per second. So I was like, I gotta have that camera, but I had no money at the time, so bought the A6500, also a really good camera, had a lot of fun with it, I did a lot of gigs with it. After that I bought the, I lost my gear. That's another story, but currently I'm shooting at the Sony A7R II, which is a good camera, but it's more a photography camera and not really videography. Yeah, I had some nice shots, but the dynamic range of this camera is not what it should be. So I was looking for something new, and I had my mind fixed on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera 4K. And after that the 6K got released and I still had no money. Yeah, I had money but not for a new camera. So I had a break and I got some funds here and there. So I finally had the money to buy the Blackmagic, and then I found out it was sold out everywhere. Nobody knew where to get it. You had to wait for a few weeks, or you can place an order and wait till they reach out to you that your order has arrived, but I'm not the waiting type. So I started to investigate more cameras, and that's when the Zcam came to mind. I'm like, yeah, I know somebody that is an ambassador for Zcam. He works over at CineSupport, cinesupport.nl. Big up to CineSupport. So I asked him, if you should choose between the Blackmagic and the Zcam, which one should you choose? And he said I would choose the Zcam. It's not because I'm an ambassador, but it got better features. It's a growing company, a lot of updates coming, so they keep improving the products. So I bought it. I had to buy some extra things, so it was a little over budget, but finally I bought it, and I can say I'm really glad I bought it, because this camera right here, the image quality and the workflow, also nice. Got some improvements here and there, but we're gonna talk about it in some other videos. But first I want to introduce you to the rig right here. I'm not gonna go into the menu right now, that's for other videos. I'm gonna deep dive into the menus and the slow motions and the workflow, etc. But for now, let's check this out. So I'll start off with the camera body. That's the Zcam E2 M4 right here. And I ordered the small rig cage. That's a 2423. Fits all the flagship series, so if you got a flagship series, you're good to go with this one. The top handle I already had. The small rig monitor mount I already had. The Switch CM55C. It's a 4K monitor, so it works perfectly. It uses NPF batteries. You can also put a V mount on it. I bought the Sigma 18 to 35mm. Yeah, gotta have this one. Really love this lens. This lens is, the quality is super nice, clean. This right here, that's the EF mount. And what happened was I ordered the Filtrox MK2. That's a speed booster for the Canon mount. When I put the Filtrox on it, the lens was a bit too heavy for the Filtrox, I think, or maybe there was like a loose connection which detached the lens every time I moved it a little bit, so I couldn't set the aperture, I couldn't really work with it, so I had to send it back, and I ordered the EF mount. That's from Zcam itself. You can, right here, you can replace the mounts. So if you got like a different mount, you can replace this right here and put on a different mount. And so for now, this works perfect, but it crops by 2. So I had to sacrifice some image to get the best quality. And also we have the Samsung T7 SSD. I also own the T5, but the T7 has twice the speed of the T5. So this works perfectly with the mount right here. It's also small rig. And the plate right here, that's from the Zhiyun Crane 3S, which I had to buy because the Weebill S I owned couldn't handle this body with this lens. So I had to upgrade. It was a perfect excuse to upgrade my gimbal again. So I sold the Weebill S and I got the Zhiyun Crane 3S. I'm gonna do another tutorial on that. Still have to test everything out. So this is how I use the Zcam E2M for handheld shots. It's got a perfect balance. It's nice to keep it steady. So let's talk about some pros and some cons. Let's start off with some pros. First off, I love the form. It got like the weight in the center, like with other cameras like the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, sticking out on the side, and this got like the perfect balance in the center. So especially for handheld, got a good movement. So the size is a big pro for me. I got big hands, so it fits right underneath, and I can keep it like this, keep it steady, keep it like this, keep it steady. And especially when you put on the V mount, you can push it to your body and keep that steady shots when you're doing handheld shots. The image quality is really top notch. Loving the image quality. It don't take much to get a nice quality out of this camera because you have like some different profile settings. You can shoot in Z-Log, and if you're a color grader, you can grade it afterwards the way you want it. But it also got like a Rec 709 option as image profile, and with that you already get a nice Rec 709 image out of the camera without having to do a lot of work on it. You just have to expose it right and you get a nice picture out of it right at the camera. So image quality is another thing that I really love is the menu, because it's not like a Sony or Canon menu with a lot of options where you have to scroll and look for the right options. It's just a clean, really video-based menu which make you choose between what settings you need, and you don't have to scroll between a lot of menus to find the right option. If you play with it a little bit, you'll get the right settings, and it don't take much to know where the settings are. And they keep updating it, so a lot of new options keep coming in the menu. It's easy to use, and it's simple. It's video based. It's not for photography, use this. For video, use this option. It's just video based. It's a clean menu, and I really love that about this camera. What I also really like about this camera is that it got a lot of options. Like you can put on, if you look right here, you can put in a Wi-Fi antenna to get the reach for your Wi-Fi signal more if you're using a tablet or a phone. You got a Ethernet cable you can connect, and in the future I heard that you can stream with this camera straight to Facebook or YouTube without any computer coming between. A mini XLR for a microphone. You can power it with a V mount. You also got an extra power option right here. Also the fact that it's with an SSD card that makes it easy to unlock it, take out the SSD card, put it on my computer, and just use the image right out of the SSD. I also edit from my SSD. I hook it up and use it as an external drive. It's got a lot of options. That's what I like about this camera. It's simple but with a lot of options, and the fact that it keeps updating, so new options are being released every time. And it's a new camera, but overall the menu over all the Zcam cameras, the flagship series or the E2C, it's almost the same. So the settings are almost the same, and if you have questions in the Zcam Facebook group, they can answer your questions because they have the same menu as you have. If you own a Zcam, or you think about buying a Zcam, or maybe you got some questions about the Zcam, just leave a comment down here below and let me know your experience, or let me know your question. Maybe I can share some tips with you, or you can share some tips with me. Any questions, leave them down in the comments and I can look at it and get back at you. Some cons I got on this camera is that they market it with a wide dynamic range option, which gives you 2 stops extra because the base ISO is 500. If it's really bright outside, you need an ND filter because else it's not possible to film outside. And that's why they give you the option for the wide dynamic range, which gives you 2 stops extra, but sometimes that's also not enough. Yeah, if you don't have an ND filter outside, it's gonna be hard to shoot sometimes. And what the wide dynamic also does is it limits some things in the menu, some slow-mo options, etc. But I'm gonna dive into that in another video, so stay tuned. What's also a con is the way the slow motion works. That's not like you're used to on a Sony. It takes some time to get used to. I know the menu by now, so I know the different settings. I'm still testing it, but the way the slow motion is set up takes some time to understand, but I'll do a video on that also. But as soon as you get it, then it's good to go. But you have to get into the flow because some options limit other options, so you have to know where to search for the right options and the best settings for you. So overall, this camera is a really good camera, even though it got cons, but hey, what doesn't? You just need to learn how to work with it. Once you do, it's a super dope camera. Image quality is clean. The high frame rate is nice for those epic slow motion shots. I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it. There's some shoots coming up, so I can put it to the test in a real shooting setting. So if you'd like to know more about this Zcam E2 M4, don't forget to subscribe, put on the notification bell so you'll stay up to date with my latest videos. And again, if you have questions, leave them down here in the comments and I'll get back to you. And for now, I'm just gonna enjoy this moment right here with the Zcam E2 M4.